be extremely happy to share the innovations with you. Monuments can talk, not just mayors, but NGOs are ready to help their respective municipalities develop, become more creative, more innovative. So I'm very happy that we have today representatives of NGOs like Adun from Pixelated Relations, and we would like to share his innovation. The innovation developed by him and his team. Good afternoon. I'm Alec Kadun. I represent Pixelated Realities. We preserve cultural heritage through digitalization. I'm not getting into detail. I do not intend to be mind-blowing in that department. I just want to for you to have some fun. So it starts with entertainment and tourism, and also restoration, conservation of monuments, and design blueprints. And for this summit and summit yesterday, we developed an app that makes sculptures and monuments talk. And they are symbolic landmarks for a specific municipality. It's better to see once than to hear about it. So let me see.
Герцог де Юньйон, герцог де Фронсак, герцог де Рішельє. Але головне моє досягнення.
Full name, but my main achievement is not the title, no the name, nor the position of the Prime Minister of France, but being one of the first governors of Odessa. I governed Odessa from 1803 to 1815 and developed a provincial city into a big European megalopolis. Good afternoon, good people. I am Prince Yaroslav. You know me as Yaroslav the Wise. I earned this name because of my innovation too. I introduced the statute Yaroslav's Truth, first statute and organizing the state and the church hierarchy. I took care of education and culture. Just a second. I'm not through with you. And we also have Daniel of Galicia and Mamai the Cossack. Thank you very much. You can see that's our interactive stands. And you're invited to do that. So now I would like to invite my great friend to the stage, a person who recently was awarded by the Sensible University, and he promotes green energy efficiency. He is one of the most zealous enthusiasts, and the city of startups in Ukrainian. He initiated the startup city in Ukrainian, but the most important thing is that he actually implements this idea. Roman Zinchenko. Thank you very much, Irene. Thank you for this generous introduction. Everything that was mentioned by Irina should be credited to a big team of enthusiasts friends, like-minded people. It is called the incubator. There are several pillars in it, and on this panel I would like to switch to my English. But before I do that, I would like to make my introduction in Ukrainian, speaking of the people that we are going to listen to and to explain how this is important. We often talk about transformation of the municipal concept, and we are not far from the Golden Gates, the ruined walls of the ancient Kiev fortification, the ancient Kiev castle. And we are living in this concept of a city that is a stronghold, a citadel, and it is hostile, it should defend itself with cannons or whatever is available. And we are still living with this model when mayor is somebody in a silo, somebody in a turret, somebody in a tower, and looking at the horizon and expecting some enemy's charge. It's not just mayor in a silo or in a tower. That's better suits Rapunzel. But this is a concept of the city, or industrial city, with industrial chimneys, and there's some smoke produced by the chimneys. That means that the city is still alive. Otherwise, it's a signal of disaster. But I would like to thank Western United Enterprise Fund and other partners for this opportunity to see not fortresses but magnets, magnet cities for talents, for people, magnet cities for business, magnet cities for inspiration. And then we won't need any chimneys or any turrets, and we should not be like Rapunzel. We need lighthouses, and you can see the panelists that are trailblazers in the drivers of change. How can you attract talents, businesses, people? You have to serve as a lighthouse, and you should be not a fortress but a city of services, a city of care. So we are studying this panel, City as a Service. It is called How Innovations Can Change People's Lives. And I'm inviting our panelists. Well, I'm proud and inspired that Bill Carsten, who represents the 3rd Constitution Document South, and also the Vice President of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Hi.
Join us here. Please welcome our guests.
Also,
Mera дуже.
Jan Frenchuk from Slovakia, the town of Kazmarok. And also our Argentinian speaker, Armando Guibert, National Government Leader Deloitte, partner. Armando. And also the cities are transforming. There are some architects of this transformation. One of the architects, not necessarily mayor, I would like to invite Rafi Rich, urbanist strategist for urban development suits smarter cities from Israel. And also we are expecting Yaroslav Yurchishин, another very important initiative that has to do with transparency of municipalities. Sorry, we have a replacement. Katerina Tsebenko is our replacement. Irene, is everyone here? I'll have a full set. Now, our mission is... Sorry, our colleague from Visa, Mr. Carl Place. And I had the opportunity to talk to our panelists, and I would like to share with you
Into English.
secret.
Але закінчу українською.
Let me conclude this part in Ukrainian. My secret question was how one can help cities so that they want more. And so how we can help, and here I have
Do we empower our citizens? Як ми уможливлюємо?
How we empower citizens for them to believe that they're drivers of change. And I think that there are people here who can give lots of hints.
Switching to English. So, as the first speaker of the panel, I'm inviting distinguished Bill Karsten, the environmentalist, municipal servant, and the person with 22 years in business experience, right? 28 years in business experience. And I would ask you to tell that environment sells, because before joining the municipality, Bill did a great business career. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dobry den. Okay. Good afternoon, colleagues and friends. And yes, we are colleagues. You see, whether you're from Canada or the United States or from Ukraine or anywhere else in the world, we are a network of municipally elected officials all looking for ways to make the lives of citizens that we serve constantly better. As mentioned, my name is Bill Karsten with the Halifax Regional Municipality in the province of Nova Scotia, Canada. I think the mic just went off. In the province of Nova Scotia, Canada. So I'm just going to push that mic there. That's better. Thank you so much for the opportunity that brings me here today to both represent my city and, very importantly, the Partnership for Local Economic Development and Democratic Governance right here in Ukraine, known as PLEDGE. This program is funded by the Government of Canada and is managed by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, of which I am honored to be the first Vice President. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, or FCM as we call it, it is the united voice of over 2,000 municipalities in Canada, representing 96% of the Canadian population, and does amazing, absolutely, thank you, and does amazing advocacy work for municipalities and delivers diverse programs such as the one I've mentioned, the Pledge program right here in Ukraine. Let me say again what an incredible honor it is for me to be among so many fellow elected officials and representatives from around the world. What I do need is the clicker, and I've just found it. The Halifax Regional Municipality, where I am a councillor, is the capital city of the province of Nova Scotia and was founded in 1749. Halifax occupies an area of almost 6,000 square kilometers, 6,000 square kilometers, and has over 1,800 kilometers of streets and roads to repair, rebuild, and maintain. Canada, as you may know, is organized into 3 different levels of government: federal, provincial, and municipal, or we prefer to be called local government. Our municipal government is responsible for probably the same type of services you're used to delivering, and that is the services closest to our residents, such as fire, police, recreation, transit, libraries, and other services such as garbage removal, collection, snow removal. However, broader issues do emerge from time to time, such as housing poverty strategy and some things like national housing. Halifax, as we know it today, was formed in 1996 by the word that we're going to be talking about, and that is amalgamation. It was amalgamated from 4 very distinct, separate municipalities. Halifax's government is comprised of a mayor and 16 elected councillors who are responsible for over $1 billion annually of operating and capital budget. We have over 4,000 full-time staff, and our staff are divided into 11 different business units. But enough already on me and my municipality. What we are here to talk about today is amalgamation, or combining municipalities together into one cohesive unit. Particularly, my comments will be addressed to smaller municipalities. So may I ask you please to raise your hand if you are from a municipality under 100,000. Wonderful. My comments may be especially informative to you. My friends, we are here for 2 days to talk about innovation. And what I will discuss is just one more tool in the toolkit for you to consider. The creation of the amalgamation legislation in 1996 was that the former cities of Halifax, Dartmouth, and also the towns of Bedford and the county area of Halifax County came under one regional government and gained a broader base of financial support from property tax, consistent planning services across the area, greater economics of scale for complex infrastructure and services, and increased staff capacity and expertise to operate facilities and deliver services. While change may be difficult, the vast benefits to municipal services are greatly outweighed by the initial challenges. Complex, expensive services like water, sewer systems are more economically when delivered at the regional scale by highly trained and professional staff who are able then better to deliver those services. With amalgamation, our professional staff have greater ability to finance and build the facilities and infrastructure that increase the quality of life for our citizens, while adjusting the operation of our various facilities to best suit the needs of specific communities in which they are located. As I just alluded to, the process of amalgamation is not, let me repeat, is not without its challenges. Its challenges are many. Integrating police programs, for one. Service levels for diverse urban, suburban, and rural communities requires very hard and diligent work and the patience of all involved, residents, staff, and elected officials alike. Legacy labor arrangements and salaries and different funding and tax rates require a special phased-in approach as they have far-reaching implications for residents. Very important to remember that political considerations also need to be fully understood. Before amalgamation, we had 4 mayors and a total of 56 councillors. That over time has now come to where I've mentioned 1 mayor and 16 councillors. So those political considerations have to be fairly and openly discussed. While many benefits of amalgamation are immediate and concrete, the opportunity for innovation and increased service is a legacy that continues long after the initial process. We, in Halifax, are still seeing the benefits of amalgamation playing out 20 years after the initial event. Our LED light conversion project, which I'll touch on in a second, the way we have addressed water, wastewater, and stormwater, and our financial status are just 3 that I will briefly discuss today. 10 years ago, we rolled out a massive conversion project to switch almost 35,000 streetlights to LED. For this project, the overall operational savings will accumulate in a reserve fund to actually fund the investment over a 10-year period. Now, some would say, could you have not done that as 4 separate municipal units? Yes, maybe. But the economy of scale for us to move ahead and do it as one regional municipality is the simple answer of its success, and that is economy of scale. Another real success story is the water service delivery we now have. Simply put, it was not effective to have 4 municipal units all diverting and going different ways, trying to do the same thing. In 2007, with great pride I say, our council created Halifax Water, a standalone water utility that delivers world-class drinking water, wastewater, and manages stormwater, all within one organization. It is a true utility run no different than any other utility, like a light company, that is run by a board of directors and was its first kind as that model in North America. There are those that are copying us now, okay? We are very proud to continue to deliver the very high drinking water that I mentioned, upgrades to all of our wastewater treatment plants, to where now we are proud to say that you can swim in Halifax water, which is one of the world's largest, other than Rotterdam and I think one other, one of the world's largest natural harbors. This is due again to the economy of scale. Amalgamation should not be done with only cost savings in mind, but rather to be in a position to better service the programs that our residents need. It does not hurt, however, that we have become very financially sustainable as a result. We have created a series of 14 financial indicators that we put on a scorecard and we review and score every year. Financially, we are doing very well as an amalgamated unit and have no debt and have over $200 million in reserves. With any great endeavor, there are always lessons learned in hindsight. When possible, a voluntary merger is always better than a forced one upon you. We heard your Prime Minister this morning say that he was very pleased that many municipalities have now amalgamated. Give it some thought before it's forced upon you, because it was enforced upon us. The outcome was good, but it was harder to get started. Amalgamation brings people together, organizations with a diverse range of needs and priorities. So be sure to consult with both businesses and residents about specific services that they require, and model a governance model that allows for these voices to continue to be heard. Lastly, it is so very, very important to find a balance between separating a new community and still honoring the distinct history and culture of the units before amalgamation. Very, very important. We call ourselves, in the Halifax Regional Municipality, Halifax, yes, as the brand, but we are a community of communities within the region. My friends, the amalgamation of smaller municipalities can be an innovative way to move forward in your area. And certainly, from the Halifax experience, can be a tremendous success. Should you have any questions about anything that I've discussed, please feel free to contact me. I'll be here certainly the rest of the day. I look forward to talking to you. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing Halifax story with you today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for such an inspiration. You know, from your presentation, I photographed this phrase, design governance so the local voices are heard. This is really important for us. And, well, maybe we'll keep the questions to the end, right, of the panel, and let's move on. And with moving on, so we had a piece of environmental aspect, and I know that Mr. Ferenczak has another aspect, how to progress smaller communities in very smart, and I want to do a total disclaimer, total disclosure here. So the stage is yours. Tell us your smart city story. And may we have the presentation, please, also on the screens? So please welcome Mr. Ferenczak.
Hello everybody, dobrý deň všetkým. Prinášam pozdrav zo Slovenska pre ukrajinských kolegov a priateľov počas tohto meetingu. I started in Slovak to greetings you because I was surprised how similar are our languages. So we are able to understand each other without any translation. Stay here maybe longer. I am fully maybe speaking, but I prefer to continue in English because I am only 2 days here. So, I will speak with you like a mayor, because you are a mayor, and we have the same problem. You have the problem, we have the problem. It's no city without any problem, because I am walking to my town hall to office, a lot of people I meet on the street, and every have a problem, asking you something to do or to change, and so on. And question is, how can I do it? Or what I do to change something in my city. What is similar, I am the first decade mayor, and almost 3 years, and the city which I am introducing to you belongs to the less developed region. So that means that was a region where is very high unemployment rate, and it was done by the changes, like you have now changes. And by this transition, because I am seeing the same situation now in Ukraine, the big cities like capital cities became attractive for young people. They leave the small cities outside, countryside, But how you can develop the countryside when you are missing people? It's impossible. So you should something to change or to attract the countryside, because without young people and maybe open mind, you will not do it. So that's the vision, how we did it. And during these 3 years to change maybe the vision of city, because it's not finished. It's only beginning, but we are on the way how to improve the situation. And why green? Because we are surrounded by 4 national parks with very huge biodiversity, natural and animals, and we would like to keep this area so clean and attractive for the people, because most for us is to improve the quality of life. Because if the people will be enough time in city, they will come back to you. And that's time for the countryside, for the maybe small cities or middle-sized cities. I'm using one motto, Nikola Tesla, because you are a mayor, you are as a planter. You don't know what's happened, but if you start, you are waiting for your plant. So that's very important, because if you don't start, no plant will grow. That's you should to do, because you are at the beginning, but that's the way what you can do. But take in your mind that always if you implement an innovation, please think about that it's for people. It's not implement only if someone is like market, come some now, you know, companies. I have new lights, I have new cards and so on, and you will take everything, because not everything you are able to implement, and it's up to people if this innovation will improve the quality of life of people. Because not everybody is using smartphones, not everybody using, I don't know, new technologies. So, but which category of people do you have in the town, and you should to improve your strategy for that. Not implement everything, because you will do it wrong way. Yeah? It's small city. You can see it's only 16.5 thousand, but we are district town, it's 70,000, and we have this administration center we are for these people. And it's in population, 60% is in a productive age, so for industry mainly, trade and services. And we are a member of Coordinator Mayor. I saw a few cities in Ukraine to be a member. I'm an ambassador of that in Slovakia. City Energo, it's some union of cities. EGTC, what is European Group of Territory Cooperation, it's an headquarter of Euroregion Tatry, what is cross-border cooperation with Poland. Kežmarok lies near the border with Poland. It's north part. I can show you. You saw on first pictures, that's my city, with this overview. So we lies under High Tatras, which is a mountain. It's a very beautiful area for living, but it's a less developed region. But what is important, in 2015, we are 8th place from economic, the best city in Slovakia. We have no debt per capita. So we are now at the moment very economically very strong city. But we didn't be, so it was a few years ago. I will introduce very small project because the timing, but I am splitting this innovation to two things, or divided to soft and hard. Because mostly everybody is speaking about hard. It's lights, it's maybe, what do you see, bicycles, e-mobility, e-cars, and everything, how you can implement. But not less important is this soft, what do you do in your city, or you can do, and it's less costly. Because if you implement the hardware, it's more money for that. But if you implement that like software or some ideas, it's not costly, but it's very effective. So I will introduce this soft one product, what we did in my city, and then how we use this for hard investigation. We are owner. We are very independently municipalities in Slovakia because we are voted by people, and like we are a partner for government. Government have no chance to change us because we are supported by people, and we are able, like a municipality, to do anything and everything what we wish. So we are like managers there. So like my city, we are owner of 18 companies. So it different kinds of companies, LTDs companies. We have a thermal management. It's owned by city. Infrastructure projects. I have a company which are reconstruction roads, which are doing the self. We are doing that. We have an industrial park, 20 hectares, self-managing by my LTD companies, which we own that. We have a forest, like city, and we are caring about the forest, more than 3,500 hectares. Yeah, and we are doing that. It's like a private company, but it's owned by municipality. Another is a contributing organization. We are caring about waste. We are caring about cleaning, about roads, walkways, everything. That's, they are using our money from our budget. They are not like self-managing. A non-profit organization, we are owner of hospital. So we are we are caring about the health of population in the town and region. It's regional hospital, but it's non-profit organization. And next one, budgetary. That does mean kindergartens, schools, and retirement home, leisure centers, and so on, so on. Together, 18 organizations. And approximately, I'm managing more than 900 people, employees. That is big infrastructure. Directly in the town, I have more than 120 people. It's only town hall, but including this organization is more than 900. And budget altogether, we are talking about 30 million euro. Yeah, that's together this organization. And question was, how to manage this infrastructure, because maybe it's a challenge for you. And I heard before your prime minister be self-managing, go your way and think about how to change the situation. You will do it, because without that you will set up the company or you will start to be like manager. It's impossible to change nothing. Yeah, you should to do. And that's project what we did and mentioned like Prime Minister before. The unified economy. So if I became a mayor, I was a lack of money. Maybe question who have enough money. Nobody. No, any municipalities have enough money. So because no money for reconstruction, for pathways, for roads, for anything, to reconstruction of buildings. And first, what do? You can do an audit of electricity, maybe of gas, and so to find the cheapest way. We did it. We saved half of money of that. And second stage, I show when I became a mayor. I had a few companies in red numbers, so they were no profit. So how to control these people, because we're so independent. So I applied this unified economy, and now I'm controlling this organization, and every from this organization is profitable. Be sure that it's how to be more transparent and how to manage the city, like entire city, not only town hall, and to see what's happened around. What was the goal of this? Project goal was unification of billing in entire city, including its organization, everything, everybody, funded and founded organization, transparent use of city financing, simplification of work innovation, accounting orders, invoices, human resources, supervision position to see all financial data for individual organization. And what is important, the selected and transparent organizational data via the directly posted on the city public information portal. Everything is open, but not personal data. Yeah, not personal data, but data like orders, invoicing, every money, every euro what we spend, everybody can check it. You can check it. If you open our website, you can see for what we are spending the money, and be sure that the locals calling us, why you spend for it about 4 euros more like the others. So that's transparency, but it's the way how you can collect the money and save the money for infrastructure project. Like timing, we started last year in January with budgetary organization. This year we with LTD and CO organization budget initial. As I said, it's not so costly. It was for us 200,000 euros, but including hardware, software, network, and per year we have a cost of this all unified economy about 50,000 euro. Does mean in our prices, because you have different situation, it could be cheaper. Yeah. And red flags, sure, like you have the same speed connection. Which system you can use for accounting, because what is on the market is able, not able, what to do with that. People, the worst situation with people, we are lack of people, because if you are in small city, how you can attract people to come back or to offer better salary for them or to stay in this town and help you, that's sometimes unbelievable. And tenders, because we should to keep the law. So we have very strict law for tenders, and everything is controlled by not only locals, but state and organization. Our first step was project. I would like to show you our steps, so very quickly. Internet connection, everybody, not only city, but its organization together. Slow connection, mostly based on wireless connection. There was a lot of interference problems, not stable, not high speed and so on, or fixed lines. Now we have an entire city, including its organization, has been connected by optical fiber cable. We decided to go to ground and put every to the optical cable because it's stable, very speed connection, and to future is open a lot of for your improvement and next investigation. It's stable. Accounting programs, we had 8 programs in this whole organization, and now we use only 2. 2 and together, and made from Slovakian company. Yeah, we found a company, they improved for our system, and we started like a pilot project for them. And now in Slovakia, like be inspired from our way, I know about 4 cities which are implementing the same software. You can do it with your company in Ukraine and do it. Yeah? Audit of hardware, of course, we should to change everything. Training of accountants and manager, mandatory for everybody. Preparation tenders, to do that, it takes time, 6 months, 8 months in Slovakia, because it's a lot of bureaucracy there. And what is important, security rules, because few peoples will see everything. We'll see personal data, we'll see every your loan, how much you are earning. So few people, that is very important to have very strictly security rules for the connection and protection of personal data, economic data, because that's mandatory for everybody and realization step by step. What do we achieve? So during these 2 years, we put all city on the optic fiber network. That means city buildings, primary schools, kindergartens, art schools, parking system, all ramps, ticket vending machines, sports, city halls, everything, city heating room, we put everything to the optical cable. It's very high speed, stable, and offer to us to future to increase our growth. Yeah? And we have entire city based on this network standard. And that's unified economy. We use for connection, you can see this VPN. It's like server. Server we decided to put in the town hall. So over my office is server room. And there we collect all data from all cities. So we have very clear view about entire city income, outcome, about spending and incoming money, not only city, all organizations. So I can do it from any place of the world. So we found this connection. So I can connect here and check all organization and go too deeply to the personal data or spending of this organization. Data, economic data are published on our website, are controlled by public, and everybody wish to control us, yeah? And it's very mandatory to keep the connection between servers and organization because it's data, and we use the hardware cryptography. Not to use software, but hardware. So we have a special fiber for that, and it's working. What's the result of that? To apply, it took 2 years only, but it was a lot of changes in the town. Advantages, uniform billing of documents. We have lower error rate. We have looking for that every day. So, unified methodology for accounting or accountants substitutability, connected the entire city to the optical fiber networks, and overview of the city management, including its organization on a daily basis. I have every second, I have overview of what's happening in the town. I can be here 1 month, but I know what's happening in the town. I have people which are controlling the system, checking the accountants to be in the right way, and so on. And continuous control of management, accounting, instant software update, what is very important in one step, because we are updating only server. Everybody is using like a thin client. They are connecting to us, and we are updating the software only in the server that is updated in all town. Yeah, it's very easy. And greater transparency. I heard a few times here, be more transparent. How be more transparent if you show your economic data? Because if you spend for something €3 and another for 5, that they are comparing people. I'm not controlling, the people are controlling, and they're calling to us why you are spend more. So that we should to look cheaper way, and we are saving money. So, and what is about saving? Direct, okay, you have this lower error rate, but indirect savings it's much visible. It takes about from 2 to 4% from total budget. Now we are a city which we had a like low profitable. Now I am earning like with the common are using more than €1 million in profitable. So that's we have a money for co-financing and for investing to the hard infrastructure. Without that, we don't have. So we will wait for support from outside or something to do. And maybe have an overview how we are using this money. Only a few pictures, but we can talk, of course, for every project because we would like not only the smart but green. It's very important to have a place for quality of life of people. So you can see a lot of projects like city cars I saw today, like Kiev or another municipalities. But we are working on that. We would like implement. We have first step. Everything I am splitting 2 steps because not you have all budget to cover all cost, but we are stepping everything. Yeah, like this city card. We would like to have a credit card inside. Everything in one card. Not only for transport, for paying for everything, not to change, and future will be in smartphone, of course. But it takes a time. Red Button Angel, monitor senior city touch. We are not only wishing of this project, we are realizing this project. We can talk about, I can tell you in which stage or which step we are in this project. Like we talked yesterday about Wi-Fi hotspots. We have in cities, public spaces. The people are coming to the center, they're using for job and so on. It's working, yeah? All public spaces, we have the hotspot. But mostly, then we put every city to the ground, to the optic fiber, because it's very important. Cameras, ramps, and everything. And what is important for you as a mayor, to have acceptance of your inhabitants to do changes. It's very important, and we started at the beginning with that because people don't like to change anything. They would like to stay in quiet, don't touch me please, I would like to survive, including the employees, including the inhabitants. If you start to do something, please start to very strong communication to people, ask people what do you like, what's your expectation, what do you wish, is for you helpful or not, and something. We use these channels I put yesterday to here. It's City Monitor, it's an application, because a lot of young people are using application. Maybe in Ukraine you can find the application to connect the city with the problem. They took a picture and sent to us. I have a person who look on that and ask maybe some of companies for reconstruction, for improvement and everything. So that's very important. Message for mayor. I have direct my email. The people are sending to me what their wishes about. I have a person, I'm not doing that. I have a person who is checking and talking with me how we can do it. Web page, Facebook, television. We have television in the city. Every week we have half hour talking what's in the city, what's the changes, how we can improve, and so on, a newspaper. I decided to get a free of charge because I expected a lot of changes, and you should have a people on your side, not in opposite, because you will be not elected anymore. So that you should to use these newspapers. I'm getting free of charge to every family. Yeah, we have monthly, but free, and we are talking about everything, what's happening in the town, and what's our future. And what we are doing with we are missing a university. If you have young people, you can involve inside. So that I visited a few universities in Slovakia. Mostly we were missing how to change the public spaces and maybe vision for the city. And I created a very good cooperation and from Bratislava architecture faculty and sent the students to our cities. And we created a web page, it's Mestské zásahy Kežmarok, and now we have 32 projects there. You can be inspired. What will be that, and you can check it, of course. And now it's for us, for me, it's like vision what we can do in this city, because if you are only one, it's impossible. If you have a people which help you, it's much easier and quicker. Another student high school campus, it's project, we are running that in second step. First million we have, its total project is 5 million, including or to move all secondary school to one place. It was before barracks, army barracks. Now we are doing this project, take next 3 years. Transport, city hospital renovation. We have a lot of projects in storage, which are using another approach to the restoration of urban area housing. You can see that's between the blocks. You can see the water. You can see there are playgrounds, everything. This project we would like to implement during the summer. This area, it's completely different approach to the city, how we can manage the cities. And what is necessary for people and for you, like being transparent, we create a map of investigation. You can see all years, 15, 16, 17, and 18, what we are expecting, what we are working for the people. Sure, you can see and the dot. Every year we can show the people, and the reconstruction, there's the roads, that's the water pipelines, that's everything. Okay. That's very mandatory to show the inhabitants your transparency working, and they will accept you then. That I was doing a lot of changes in the town, and nobody knows if the people like you or not, because every corner is something destroyed and holes, and because we are in big reconstruction. So, but we had now election to regional parliament, and I won in the city. So that was that the people accept all changes, and now I feel that are supporting me to continue this step and to be more smart green city to the future. Thank you very much. Back to the bottom.
Well, I'm sure there will be a number of questions, but in this case, as far as I remember, you will have to leave us a bit earlier. Maybe we can, you're leaving at 2, right, for the plane? At 2, okay. So we'll have the questions to you later then. And now, while we are having a perfect globe tour, because we are learning from the best city minds across the globe. So we had Canada, we have Europe, and now let's jump into Southern Hemisphere. So here, I'm honored to invite to the stage a person who had a significant experience being a head of transportation department in very exciting part of the world, in Argentina, and now over decades serving as a head of government of public affairs, right, at Deloitte. So I'm inviting to the stage Mr. Armando Gilbert, who is a partner, America's national government leader at Deloitte. The floor is yours, please welcome.
Hola, hola, ahí está. Bueno, muchas gracias a todos. Voy a hablar en mi idioma español. Creo que va a haber una traducción simultánea, así que estoy muy agradecido a los integrantes del Summit por habernos invitado a presentar la experiencia de Argentina y a nuestra oficina de Deloitte Ucrania, que ha elegido Buenos Aires para hacer poner las experiencias que hemos desarrollado en el gobierno de Buenos Aires. Pero aparte, yo particularmente estoy acá en este momento muy emocionado y feliz de estar en la tierra de mis abuelos maternos, porque mis abuelos inmigraron de Ucrania hacia Argentina allá por el fin del siglo XIX, así que me siento ucraniano y estoy en la tierra de mis abuelos. Y en honor a mi abuelo que decía, un pueblo, dos patrias. Así que muchas gracias por estar acá y poder presentarlo. Gracias. En lo particular, como decía el presentador, yo antes de incorporarme al Departamento de Gobierno de Deloitte participé en casi todos los procesos del gobierno democrático de Argentina. Argentina tuvo un proceso de democracia que hoy en día tenemos la democracia más consistente en los últimos 30 años. Y en ese sentido, yo he participado de varias funciones, alcanzando la función de quizás la parte de infraestructura y transporte que abastece a toda la región, y tuve contacto con todos los intendentes o con todas las administraciones locales, y conozco bastante bien la problemática. Por eso el título de la presentación tiene que ver con esto de cómo es la descentralización, la innovación y los recursos que podemos tener en los gobiernos locales. Voy a hacer una pequeña introducción para entender, para llegar al final de las conclusiones y poder dejar en la Argentina y que pueda ser una experiencia para ustedes. ¿Y por qué esto digo? Porque tenemos mucha similitud con Argentina y Ucrania. En primer lugar, tenemos la misma cantidad de habitantes.
Things in common between Argentina and Ukraine, approximately the same number of population, and we are divided into provinces, you are divided into oblasts, which look very much alike, and that's why our work can be useful in terms of learning lessons from our experience. What is the linkage and relations between the national governments and the subnational level? The subnational levels, how do they are projected onto the structure? First of all, I would like to inform you about the structure of the government of Argentina so that you understand it better to make the conclusions. Argentina is a federal country as well as Brazil or Mexico. So there are 3 federal states, and we have national government, provincial governments, and local self-government authorities.
Tenemos 23 provincias con la ciudad autónoma y tenemos una gran cantidad de gobiernos locales que son totalmente autónomos. Lo que tiene en Argentina, el tema federal,
government authorities, we have 2,000 of those. They have certain autonomy. 2,200 of those and half of them are municipalities or mayors. And thanks to the constitutional reform, and this is a similar thing in this sense with Ukraine, we are quite young. Ukraine is an independent country for 26 years, and we, for 23 years, have been implementing constitutional reforms in Argentina. And a lot of issues were brought into the limelight due to the decentralization, but it was very important that we have implemented changes and reforms at the local level. So each province has its own laws which regulate the municipal system of local self-government authorities, depending on the resources, capacities for the mayors at the local level. 1,200 of local self-government authorities exist in Ukraine, and there is a big disparity between various municipalities. In some places, the population is high, and there are a lot of a big population, and it is difficult to maintain the relations with the citizens. But certain policies have been implemented to provide the equality and the balance depending on the geographical location and the distances to provide access to new technologies, internet, and so on and so forth. And in Buenos Aires is an autonomous city, and there are 24 districts, 24 mayors, 10 million people live there, and daily 3 million people commute to the city. And we have to multiply everything by the factor of 2. There are a lot of government authorities, local government authorities, which might, and some might be responsible for 1.5 million population, and some have much less of population, and we have to establish a reliable connection between those. I would like to be brief for lack of time. So local government authorities are constituted by the council, the mayor, and the governor of the province, and all of them are being elected by the citizens. What are the functions of those? The competencies. Some functions are shared between the local self-governments and the provinces. There are some exclusive competences of certain levels of government. And there are very few local self-government authorities who are responsible for education or public health. But the major authority is management of the resources. At the provincial level, 50% is the resources which belong to the regional authorities, and 40% are the own resources. 85% of the current expenditures are made at this level. So what's the financing schemes for the mayors? In Argentina, the financing is provided in a different manner. It differs from Ukraine. These funds are being provided on the basis of the joint participation. They have to be constantly consulting with the citizens, and they have to take into account technological development and the technological process. In Buenos Aires, I'd like to give you short information about it. Thanks to the changes in the constitution, we have a different hierarchy. It's an autonomous city. It's the most advanced. And our company helps them to digitalize they work in the communes where they have the relevant centers, so the citizens might participate in the life of the municipality. Everything is provided in electronic form, and they have given up the hard copies, and this also promotes decentralization to a great extent. A lot of questions are being asked by our citizens, but we can resolve those issues in a better way when the city is decentralized. So these are the centers of the citizens' participation, actually. And these are the centers of administrative services provision, registration of marriages, registration of births, everything which deals with the trade is being decentralized. And it has been decentralized using the direct contacts with the administration and the citizens. And this is a real decentralization. But we can say that it can be achieved overnight. No, it's a very difficult work. We have to work on it for a long time. And in the structure of the government, there are 3 levels. 15 communes, the public health, education, provision, social programs are the authority of these communes. Last year, the federal police was also changed and restructured. It has been transferred. And the real autonomy is given to the city of Buenos Aires, and it can carry out investment programs, and there are subnational governments as well, government authorities, who can decide how they are going to use the funds, but they maintain the contacts between each other. Definitely, political parties have an impact, but the system has to be transparent, automated to provide this direct communication at the local level. And there are certain funds. I told a couple of things about the funds. Certain transactions have to be carried out, and this is about the balance, the equalization, because we have a huge area, and the length of the territory is 4,000 kilometers from north to south until the southern islands, and it is necessary to implement the policies appropriately in such a big area. And the internet gave us an opportunity to revolutionize the processes, and it's ongoing process. We have to implement more of those tools. And I'm going to show you the video at the end of my presentation, and it has a lot to do with the resolution of the city issues. We are not that far from each other as it might seem at the first glance. So, technological innovations. We have to focus on the local self-government authorities because they have the direct contact with the citizens. But innovations are to be carried out under the process of decentralization if there are relevant resources for that. Otherwise, it is next to impossible. We have to provide services to the citizens and innovate these services. Fiscal policies, alongside with decentralization, has also to be improved and innovated. When all these 3 conditions are being adhered to, then we can talk about the implementation of all our plans. And the national level of government takes care of it. Decentralization, technological innovations change the services for the population, and it is a source of equality. National government, the new president decided to create a so-called digital state, and it is about creating allocation digital distribution, digital allocation of funds. The functions of digital state is digitalization of the whole state, both on the national and the local level, to achieve the necessary equality. Because in Buenos Aires, the conditions differ from the municipalities, from the local level. So the national government has to take care about providing equality and equalization to promote the implementation of the technological processes, and also is responsible for incorporation of the citizens to the governance of the cities. And this all was done, and the functions were improved to involve the citizens into the governance. And we have to carry out policies of inclusiveness. And the policy of the government was an important component in this endeavor. And, well, we were able to implement these approaches thanks to these technologies. Okay. Five issues which are being resolved in the state, local organizations, web services, training, education, technical tools. These are the parts of the program of the e-government. Now, this is very the infrastructural aspects, optical system, communication, a connection between all the mayors so that they are part of the integral system. All the technological innovations which have a lot to do with the national government. Everything has to start at the local government authorities. And open government is another important element of this system. All the improvements, the public consultations, budget issues, well, are being resolved through the network of the open government, through the Wi-Fi networks and the digital points. Wi-Fi has to be provided in all the areas where the people live, in the educational establishments, in health care institutions, in the digital points, and through them, the government is going to implement the innovations. The mayor and the municipalities have to be able to perform these functions. And this is everything I wanted to say about the message, so to say, and also what's been done by the national government. And the most important aspect of all this work and goal of this work, to provide equality, decentralization, resources, and support of everything which will promote the equality. And now are the 4 cases or 4 examples. We are talking here about 4 areas because all the mayors promote these processes, support these activities, and the mayors support these activities. So I've selected 4 cases. For example, the city of Rosario, 30 kilometers away from Buenos Aires. They implemented the system through mobile communication, and they have equipped the bus routes, the displays, which have the citizens to understand what's the schedule of the operation of the transit vehicles. Or another example, Bariloche, the city of Bariloche, 1,500 kilometers away from Buenos Aires, and to the south. And they have a system of parkings which allows to, with the help of the mobile telephone connection, to pay for the parking fees and actually understand to have an understanding about the availability of space. And the province Figre, I am completing my presentation. Figre province. It's not far, and the city is not far from Buenos Aires, and they provide the control of the safety in the city. The surveillance cameras, we've seen the examples when today, and the police can check the plate numbers of the cars, if it has been stolen, if the car has been dropped after it was stolen, and it's very convenient to use this system. And the Salta city, it's 1,500 kilometers away from this city, and they have their own program and software. They can survey the way the city is being cleaned.
And some masts that can fall down the transmission lines or whatever, the waste, and smart city. There's a department service, the service that is in charge of this area. For us, it's 360 degrees. Everything is united. Everything is covered. And of course, it's impossible to cover everything, to encompass everything, but you should integrate as much as you can. So you need some feedback, some integrity with the smart city to take care of health problems and environment. This is 360 degrees. That's the way the vision should be. This kind of control, this kind of feedback. That concludes my presentation. Smart city is mobility. It's a very important topic, one of the most relevant. Internet becomes more and more important with the time. We're going to have electric cars and no drivers. The progress is unstoppable, of course. And transportation is important, and it should be some importance. I would like to show some video to you. Can you hear it? А я сьогодні йду додому.
Managers use advanced analytics to combine Ben's trip history, current circumstances, data from millions of other commuters, and information from different modes of travel across the city to provide a set of tailored, seamless options. Payment providers allow Ben to pay by the mile. Insurance companies deliver customized per-trip insurance that accounts for Ben's particular route and mode of transit.
I need groceries. I can pick them up at the station and then take a pod home. But I can still get some exercise by biking to the train.
City planners work with the private sector to operate and maintain critical infrastructure, from bike racks to train platforms. Physical assets are increasingly smart and connected, allowing constant real-time monitoring.
Ah, perfect timing. And I don't even need to take my phone out of my pocket to board.
Digital infrastructure suppliers provide ubiquitous, high-speed connectivity for a smooth and secure online experience.
Milk, eggs, bread, ice cream? Yeah, why not?
Retailers and logistics providers enable nearly on-demand provisioning of products to Ben.
Well, I got my groceries. Now I just need to grab a pod, and I can catch a bit of the game.
Fleet operators store, maintain, and deploy shared autonomous vehicles throughout the city. Vehicle manufacturers build an array of shared self-driving options to meet the varying needs of Ben and the millions of other travelers. Content providers offer a variety of options, from entertainment to business applications, each supported by advertisers and subscription fees.
Wow, that was fast. Now I just check the fare summary, grocery bill, rate the trip, and it's time to relax.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Actually, here's the opportunity to the room, so we'll disrupt and order a bit. So, Mr. Gilbert, I have to convey the message from your colleagues that you also have to run at 2. So we'll take 3 questions to first 3 speakers from the participants, right? And then we'll continue. Please, 3 quick focused questions. If you would point whom from our 3 first distinguished speakers you would love to answer, we would appreciate. Do we have a mic in the room? Okay, so I don't see the microphone in the room, so I'll share it with you.
My question will be to Mr. Ferenczak. Sergei Zamidra, Nemyshaeva Town Mayor, Kyiv Region. What are your 3 best solutions for youth development in your municipality?
It depends in which kind of innovation or reconstruction, because that depends on expectation of people. Because I'm telling that everybody could be smart, because now it's famous be a smart, like smart mayor and everything. And I'm telling that everybody is smart. When the wishes and expectation of people, it's that it's holds on the pathways, and you reconstruct that you are smart. So in my city, it does mean that of course, I started for reconstruction of pathways and roads, so we are doing a lot for that. That's maybe one from the hardware. And this software application which help us to earn money and save money in government, in my municipality, because I don't know from whom, but we have money. So that's very, very important, because everybody's asking, okay, we need the money for co-financing of project, of EU funds, of cross-border cooperation and so on. If we have not, so we have no possibility to ask for money. And what is last 2 years, we are in profit in my town more than €1 million per year. So I don't know from whom I'm taking this money, but we have in the budget. So, and that's we are using. That I think very, very clever idea if you would like be so transparent. And the third is to involve the public and inhabitants, maybe students, for the development of the city. That's how to change the public spaces, because they feel more involved in the city. If you do self, you will stay self, only one. But if you involve the people like your inhabitants, that you will be not only one there. Yeah, it's I think very important, because then you have more time maybe to come here and speak with you, because I know that the people are looking how to improve the public spaces down. There are now these changes, and for me, the biggest challenge is this student camp, because I would like to move all secondary schools in one space. And in Monday, so he started to talk about, and we have first money from government to start this project. And in Monday, we are opening a consultancy for university. So to small city is coming economic university to start a project for small and middle enterprises, and with like startup centers and so on, because it's idea nobody had this idea. So, and in Monday we have this day. And before that was impossible because no ideas. That for you is very important maybe to feel what the expectation of people and what can help your city to improve the situation. It's very important, but keep in mind it's for people, not for innovation, not for companies. You know, it's for people and not do application because nobody use it. It's waste the money. Keep your identity, keep your culture, keep your, maybe slowly, but you will keep your own in your home. That's very important, not be so famous and implement everything because I would like be so smart. It's no way, not for you, not for me, not for any mayor, I think so.
Thank you. Thank you. And the second question, Mr. Harst.
Дякую. Дякую всім за цікаві презентації.
Thank you very much for
Дякую
exciting
Вільяму
presentation.
Карстен
Thank you to
за цікавий
Bill
досвід міжмуніципальної співпраці
Karsten
для
for this great
українських
experience
міст, які вже третій рік мають
of
додаткові
municipal
ресурси
cooperation.
фінансові, є сьогодні дуже актуальним і цікавим.
Magnetic communities
Але моє запитання до мера Кіжмарок Яна Ференча.
funding. I would
Мені імпонує
also
цей
ask
досвід,
Mr.
тому що це
Ferenchuk. This is great experience, and I would like to know whether you have partners, your city, whether they have partners in Ukraine. We have a very interesting resource. This is Transboundary Cooperation Program, Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia. By the way, so would you consider this avenue for partnership? And are you ready to share your experience with the Ukrainian partners? Yes, I understand.
My nie mamy. We have not. At the moment, we are looking for, because I'm in the group of Carpathian strategy, and from the European Union now, I received some letters, papers, because from Europe we are looking the same way how to help Ukraine to come maybe back to Europe and be a part of that. So from this Carpathian strategy, we would like to add this strategy in Brussels, because Ukraine and Poland should be a partner, and there is the Brussels money. And another I am looking for partner, of course, like town, because we have not, but to future as a for cross-border cooperation. We have very good experiences with Poland, and not only from Brussels funds, but from national funds, because every country from national level put the money. And for very small projects, for us it's about 50,000 euros, the small project for every site, 50 for you and 50 for us, and we have a lot of these projects. And this year I think we implemented maybe 4 or 5, 6 projects. This one, it's very quick money, and it's stable money like every year. So sure, we are looking for, if you are looking for, we can talk about or send email to me, and we can create a cooperation together with the Ukraine city to future.
Okay, and the third question in this part? No question? Okay, let's move on. And now we've been to Canada, Europe, Southern America. Let's jump to the world's capital of innovations. And no, I'm not meaning Silicon Valley, I'm meaning Israel. So, and here's very interesting intersection between the technology, architecture, and solving global challenges across the world. So I'm inviting here Rafi Rich, who leads the Suits IT solutions and architecture consultancy, and helping solve cities across the world, not just in Israel, their most challenging problems using the power of data, IT, and architecture. Sir, the floor is yours. Please welcome. Yeah, thank you. And for those who are living now, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much to be here. It's an honor for me, and see you soon.
Okay, thanks very much for having me. I was supposed to be, when I was asked to come here, I had two options. One was to go to Eilat in Israel to a conference on the beach, And the second was to come here to be in the snow. So I prefer the snow. So thanks very much. I'm going to talk a bit about city as a service and digital transformation. I used to work for the private sector. I had a planning firm, and then I opened 2 NGOs, one national, one local, and then I went to work for the national government as a senior director for building for the Israeli government, where I was in charge for a national reform in local authorities, and now I'm back into the private sector. And we work with cities in Israel, about 20 cities. We work in cities around Eastern Africa. We are the consultants of UN Habitat for smart cities, so we connect between the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, the New Urban Agenda, and the smart cities. And one of the main roles, one of the main challenges is how do we connect all of this amazing new stuff to secondary cities, not only the big cities, but also to secondary cities. So the question is basically, city as a service is not the main question. The main question is, how do we actually make cities better, and how do we share the cities themselves? So I'm going to go very, very briefly. When we talk about challenges in cities, the challenges that we have in cities today are different than the challenges we had 10 and 20 years, and obviously 50 years ago, because the world is changing. So there's urban growth, which is changing on one side, and we have the other side, we have suddenly the refugee situation. And in all of that, we also have a change in the patterns of families. So suddenly we need much more. We need much more infrastructure. We need much more housing. And in all of this, obviously, innovation can take a big part. But the problem is that the smart city arena is led by a very simplistic way of thinking, meaning that if I just employ technology in 5 out of these 8 fields and I just do a checklist, then I'll be smart. Now the problem about this is that the things are much more complex. There's much more complexity in all these things together. And that's one of the reasons why every city wants to deploy smart city solutions, but there's not too many proven successes. There's not a lot of ROI or IRR into that. I mean, not yet. So we developed, and to do that, we have to understand 2 main things. One thing is, we cannot, and the Prime Minister spoke about that this morning, we cannot do anything if there's no trust. We need to create trust between the local authority, the national government, and the citizens. That's one thing. How do we use technology? How do we use solutions? How do we make a way that everyone will want to work together? And the second thing is the issue of collaboration. So I don't know if you know this game. As a child, we used to play that. There are 3 things you need to know about this. Okay, one thing, you have to look and see that the distance between the 2 people are the right distances, otherwise you'll fall. The second thing is to see the guy that's supposed to hold you and see, is he strong enough for that? Okay, because if someone is very heavy and another guy is very weak, so obviously you won't catch him. And the third thing, in 21st century, we are all into Facebook and so on, so you want to see if there's eye contact and you know what to do. Now, this collaboration, we're talking about expectation. That doesn't mean that anything can happen, but we have to make sure that what we know we can do can happen. So these 2 things together, obviously we need to embed that into our solutions. So our vision of being smart is led by 3 things. The first thing is to create a data-led management system. That means that if you want to use data to understand what your problems are, where the problems are, and to use that in the planning process. I'm not going to talk a lot about that, but we are working with some cities on implementing data inside the planning system. So not only use that in the beginning, but throughout the process. The second thing is to work upon shared community-based infrastructure services. So not only national, but we're talking about local, we're talking about microgrids, we're talking about shared transportation, we're talking about sharing municipal buildings. If you use the municipal buildings, schools and office buildings, and use them after the office hours for the public, then instead of having, like in the big cities, they have space for everything, you can do much more with much less. And there's quite a few examples for projects like that. And the third thing is localizing innovation and economy by using innovation to solve your own challenges, not use innovation for a problem that someone else has, but using innovation for your own problems. So if you do these three things, then your city will be much smarter, because you do much more with much less, you share with the community, and you create a lot of value. So a small example I want to give, and I have 2 more slides. I have a small example in what Tel Aviv is doing. And Tel Aviv just won in 2014, they won the prize for the smartest city in the world. Now, they did that by a very small project. And right now, they're doing quite a few amount of projects. But for something they didn't spend a lot of money on, they won the prize. Now, the prize was for a digital card. It's called the Digitel for Tel Aviv. And what they did, basically, they created a social network which is based upon the interest of people in the community, and then they get services by who they are and where they are. So actually what the city is doing is not only decentralizing from the national government, but actually decentralizing services for the smaller communities. So if you have like works in where you live, then only you would get the notice about what's happening and so on, and then also there'll be also possibilities for SMEs. And what's happening in Tel Aviv, I don't know if you have in your cities a municipal application, but usually around the world municipal applications have less than 0.1% of the community that use this digital application. They have over 50% of the population that is using that. Slower? I'll try a bit slower. So if you have 50% of the community, not only the rich and the digitally connected people, not only the young people, but actually those that use this digital cards more than anyone else is the elderly. And not only that, also the poorer communities are using that. So the mayor knows exactly what people need around the community. So I'm going to show a 2-minute presentation that they did 2 years ago about that. I hope it's going to work.
Welcome to Tel Aviv, Israel's energetic and youthful heartbeat. A coastal metropolitan that never sleeps. A city deserving of the next step in municipal services and communication. Digital. A personalized, interest, and location-based digital communication network centered on our residents. Every Tel Aviv resident from the age of 13 can visit one of our many registration points. Tell us a bit about themselves. And that's it. Then they will receive a digital city card and become Digitel citizens. Based on their unique digital profile, we can offer them customized information and remote services, anytime, anywhere. We'll make sure Simon gets an SMS that the bridge on his route is closed, so he can take an alternative route and get to his game on time. We'll remind Sarah that the time for kindergarten registration is about to end, and even help her register on the go. And Jonathan loves music, so we'll offer him discounted tickets to tonight's neighborhood concerts. Digitel is even bigger than that. It keeps us connected with our residents at all times, using an urban multi-layered map network, citywide free Wi-Fi, public participation platforms, and a city mobile app offering users nearby services, even enabling them to report hazards directly. We will know exactly where the hazard is by their location. It's a revolution. Placing the citizens at the heart of the city and creating an entirely new dialogue with them. Digitel, a new kind of urban experience.
Just can I have one more slide? Sorry. So just, I can give some more information later on, but the Digitel started off by being just something for giving, like connecting to the local authority. But what they have created, because they have this data, is that they know and they constantly work with the community and with policymakers. So now they have actually a department which is in charge of working within the local communities on a matrix level. So instead of having just the energy, the water department, the safety department, the construction department, and so on, they have also on the community level something that connects within the local community these solutions. So I have 5 tips to give to local authorities based on our experience in cities around Israel. The first one is decide together what's important. Most local authorities aren't rich. They can't do everything. So you have to decide how to prioritize. Now you can do that only if you engage the community. You can only do that by working with them and seeing together, again, what's important. Again, going back to trust and expectations. We can't do everything, but we can do this and we can do this first. The second thing is strategize information. It's not only about open data or about collecting data. We have to know what data do we need, how many times a year do we have to collect that data, what kind of data do we have to work upon, how do we secure this data, who manages the data. So we work with local authorities on creating a strategy for data, understanding exactly what I can collect and also issues of privacy and so on. The third thing is you can't start by digital solutions, you have to start by smart policies. Because a policy, a smart solution can never go without the policies. You have to start with the policy, decide what you want to do, where, what are the problems, only then decide what digital tools are the best. So for one example, if transportation is not something you can solve because it's dealt on the national level, then work upon either on collaboration or just choose something else. The fourth thing is digital transformation is a mindset. It's a new skill. The whole thing of 21st century skills about how you solve problems, how you collaborate, how you deploy technology is a new thing. Local authorities don't really know how to do that. So we have a program in Israel which is a digital leadership program, which right now we have 30 municipalities that are partnering in that, and they are a network. And we take medium-level leaders inside the local authority to learn about digital transformation, and they try out solutions within their departments. It's not the CTO. It should be the planning managers, it can be the welfare managers, and they work together to create that change and not to be afraid of change. And the last thing about that most of the money and most of the possibility comes from the private sector. So if you want to do everything and you're rich, it's fine. But if you want to do PPP, if you want to do public-private partnership, you have to create enabling regulations. So enabling regulations mean regulations which are smarter. It means also if you want to deploy money from the public sector, you have to do such things. And also to allow for trying out technologies. So to try out technologies, you need a new set of municipal and sometimes national policy to do that. And when you have these things, then a municipality doesn't have to pay for that. He can work with the private sector because the private sector really wants to try out their technology. And for these things, I saw during the event small municipalities which are doing very, very good things. And small municipalities can try out new solutions because they have feedback from the community, because they can know immediately what works and what doesn't work. So you can start from Kiev, the big city, or you can start from the small city, but you have to work in collaboration. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Шановні учасники заходу, я трошки втручуся, бо, на жаль, в мене є теж роль така контролювати, щоб в нас все було вчасно. Ми вже дуже перебрали наш час, і я приношу дуже велике вибачення для наших двох спікерів. Я прошу зробити презентації по 10.
Apologize to the two speakers. We please make your presentations, cut it down to 10 minutes, and because they are going together with us to the next tour, and you will be able to discuss issues with them. So I would like to ask you to have a lunch very quickly, and please tell us who is going to the excursion to Unicity so that we understand how many vehicles we need. Okay, agreed. 10 minutes for each of the speakers because we are lagging behind. We have very quick lunch, and we come back here. We also get some inspiration from other success stories, and then we go for a tour.
Now we continue. Thank you, Rafi. And now let's move to United Arab Emirates. So Carl Kleiss, Senior Director from Innovation and Strategic Partnerships, Visa. Sir, the stage is yours. We in Kyiv are often proud that we can pay for public transportation using contactless cards. I think there's a lot more innovations in this field in your speech, so we are waiting. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly talk for an hour if you need me, but I think what I'll do is I'll try and keep it nice and short. Just in relation to the theme that's been going through the session so far, everything that's been spoken about from Bill all the way through has been effectively a connected city, and how do you make that connected city much more efficient for the citizens on their journey. And I think some of the videos sort of articulate that journey. And that journey is what we're all about when we're talking about Visa in relation to smart cities. There's various decks that I can go through. I probably will prefer just to talk through the use cases that we're working on in relation to the UAE, but also in relation to why in Dubai we've sort of established that as our global smart city center of excellence, and how we're delivering on solutions that address a lot of the common challenges that I guess every mayor here is trying to address. We're all about solving problems. And if you start with the smallest problem in your local city, and then look at that journey aspect for the citizen, we have various touch points. Obviously at Visa, it's all about digital payments, but it can't be done without an ecosystem. And some of the themes that have been talking about are really focused on public-private partnership models. So we're quite lucky. In Dubai, we're actually part of a consortium which involves the municipality, which involves the smart office departments, which also involve transport authorities, but also the technology sector. And that technology sector is the ecosystem that we bring to the table. Whether it's an infrastructure player, be it a network infrastructure player like a Cisco, or whether it be an IBM, or whether it be a global player like a Samsung, we work with all of those ecosystem partners to realize smart city services based on key use cases. And some of those, I'm just going to go through a couple of slides here which sort of articulate that journey. Little disclaimer, I hope you all read that. Just very quickly, everything you see here is just around use cases that we're developing as not only proof of concepts, but as pilots. When you go outside in the main area where we're showcasing some of these technologies, some of those are real and they're already here in the market. We're thinking and we're really evolving the journey of a citizen through a city. And some of those involve going through a stadium, for example, a connected stadium. Others involve you commuting, whether it's within the city or intercity or intracity, maybe across a border maybe. I sort of elaborated yesterday about one specific journey, and it was really around solving a problem where if I have to commute between two cities and I choose to make a decision to either go through a public transport system or drive myself, wouldn't it be great to have early visibility and transparency on what opportunities I have for parking, but also what opportunities I have for having lunch, for example, or also, how can I make that journey seamless by paying for everything without having to even pull out my wallet? And I think these are the kind of things that we're talking about. So whether it's a connected stadium, whether it's bringing together smart parking or smart fuel services or any other type of a connected service, all of it still revolves around a number of things. Access to data. And that data sits with many different entities. So on the one hand, it could be sitting within the government, whether it's a state government or within the municipality. I'm part of a consortium right now where we're looking at how do we digitize the city of Dubai around one key opportunity. And we took this problem that I was discussing around my journey between two cities, and we're looking at that in terms of how do we solve for that journey. So we're going to solve for it by working together as a consortium. And that consortium comprises of some of the names that I sort of mentioned, but what we're going to do is we're going to leverage what's already there. So in Dubai, there is a Dubai Now app that exists today. And we're thinking about how can we go about improving this. So we're at the early stages of sort of discussing this with the various stakeholders. But what's important here is that there are cloud services which are there that can be utilized. And I think when you're thinking about smart cities, it's all about access to data which is made available, government data and private sector data. And it's about inclusiveness with the private sector. So to give you some examples of that. So if you do have a portal or an online system which has all of your existing government data, in Dubai we have that. I'm a resident, I'm an expat, even the citizens obviously, they live there. My driving license details are on there. You know, my rental apartment details are on there. You know, every other government interaction I have is on this one app. But also we're thinking about, well, how do you improve, that's government to government. How about government to business? How do you bring in the business element to this? How do you bring in the consumer element? I mean, it's nice to know about how much you spend as a municipality, but it's even better when you connect the private sector into that opportunities around not only how you spend, but also how I utilize that service. So what we're looking at here is, can we bring in maybe, for example, smart parking solutions which don't have to rely only on government-issued parking spots like a Roads and Traffic Authority in your city? What about leveraging some of the startup solutions that are out there? Because in Dubai, there's a lot of high-rise towers. And even in Abu Dhabi, which is the capital, there are a lot of high-rise towers. But there's a lot of empty parking spots within those basements of those buildings. But today, how do you have visibility of that? Well, there are some fintechs who've created some solutions around that, and they have them available on their platform. Wouldn't it be nice to have that integrated into the government cloud and the government app? And so that if I commute from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, wouldn't it be fantastic if, before I even arrive there, I know where I'm going to park because all the street parking is occupied. It's quite hot in Dubai, it's about 40 degrees, a little bit like here, it's about -10 probably outside. And when I arrive, I'm already guided to the building right next to where I'm having my meeting. And then in that building, the security guard who's going to open the boom gate for me already recognizes my number plate, he knows I'm coming. So I go in and I park at the designated bay. I've already paid for that parking spot for the day. It's happened through that one app, that one portal. I'm going to my meeting. When I'm up at that meeting, you know, it's lunchtime, a bit like now. I don't have time to grab my lunch to step out. I don't even know where to go. There's a couple of stress points there. Why be stressed if I can have maybe an Uber Eats or a Deliveroo service, which is services that we work with and merchant service partners that we work with, who can bring my favorite, maybe chicken wrap meal straight to my meeting, and I pay for that while I'm even on my way to my meeting. Again, you know, underline the point, there's no stress, there's no thought process behind that. What's even more greater than that is, that's fantastic, so I've solved my parking problem, I've solved my lunch problem, and what about if I use maybe an artificial intelligence service provided by the government, and that's a feature that's embedded within that app, and then that predicts for me all of the stress points before I even arrive. So in the UAE, they now have a Minister of Artificial Intelligence. Interesting enough, it's the first of its kind. And I think this is where there's true innovation. And I think it's bringing the private sector with the public sector to improve services for citizens and for residents in no matter how big a size a city, whether it's 16,500 people or whether it's 20 million people. It doesn't matter. The common challenges and problems still exist. So Visa, we're behind all of that, obviously. We see ourselves as a strategic partner. We work with the ecosystem, we work with the government sector, we work with the technology sector, and we're helping them make that a completely digital, seamless journey. So, you know, please reach out to us and let's work together. We've got a cashless society report which has been released, which talks about the impact that cashless society has on your city here in Kiev, but also the same approach will apply, you know, for multiple size cities around the world. So, again, just really excited to be here, and keeping it brief. I can talk for hours, but we'll go with the flow. I know there's lunch coming up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I do hope we'll be seeing more and more such innovations implemented across the country. And now we're getting back home, and actually I don't think we can praise more in terms of promoting transparency, accountability in public procurement among the civil society organization, any organization than Transparency International Ukraine. So if we are speaking about exporting innovations from Ukraine worldwide, maybe components in our procurement reform are certainly worth studying in many, many countries, many markets. So, and now, well, Transparency International did another important part, and I have a pleasure to invite to the stage Katerina Tsebenko, and they did really interesting research on the cities and their transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. We at Transparency International believe that city should really be a service. City shouldn't be a fortress. And there is an aspect with the help of which city can be a real service. This is transparency, as you, Roman, mentioned. Transparency means whether city councils inform about their activity, whether is it possible to send electronic message to them, whether they are accountable or not, whether there is their budget visualized on their site or not. Is it possible to sign up to the doctor or to sign up the kid to the school or kindergarten? All this is necessary. All these are measures of transparency and also accountability, and simultaneously as service to the citizens. Also, meanwhile, there is a decentralization reform in Ukraine, and all these indicators that I mentioned are more and more important as more finance goes to the cities. And so cities should become more accountable to citizens. We, with our partner sociology firm, conducted a poll, and we discovered that only 9% of citizens actively use website of municipalities. This is please turn on the presentation, the PowerPoint one. Будь ласка, PowerPoint презентацію вімкніть. So here are results of the poll, and it only 9% people who find all necessary information on the sites of municipalities. This was omnibus conducted in 5 biggest cities of Ukraine, and half of a citizen tells that no, I don't need the site of municipality and city council. These figures are very bad, and we think that website of municipality should be the instrument of transparency and real instrument of participation for people. It should include all instruments that a person needs for good life in the city. So, and also taking into account the decentralization reform, as I mentioned, we did the transparency ranking of 100 biggest cities in Ukraine, biggest according to population. And here are the criteria under which we made our ranking. There are 13 spheres and 91 indicators. You see these spheres. Information about the work of municipal authorities. Here we included the information whether it is possible to find the different contacts of city councils, authorities on the site, public participation about different instruments of participative budget, and electronic message to the city council, public procurement policy, about bids, about electronic procurement, whether city uses it or not, housing policy, whether it is possible to sign up to the key for receiving dwelling on the city council website, budgeting and public contract, whether city budget is visualized on the city website, and whether it is divided into object, grants and funding, how transparently grants for physical persons are distributed, and social services. This sphere includes questions concerning possibility of online register to the doctor or to receive other different social services. Human resources measures transparency in the process of HR in city municipalities, professional ethics and controls of interest, measures availability of codes of ethics, and political parties of deputies, land use and construction policy, about electronic register of little architecture forms, for example, about plans of territories, municipal businesses and municipal property, whether cities are using Prozoro sales or not. It is a system for online sale of municipal property, and also education, whether it is possible to sign up a kid to the kindergarten or to the school. And here are the results. If you don't see very good, you can use this site. And top 5 is Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Kropivnitsky, Mykolaiv, and Kyiv. But Lviv, according to our ranking, Lviv has only 60 points out of 100, so it is a lot of work to do. And now Lviv and another municipalities work with us and take our recommendations how to raise transparency, because we not only measured transparency, we prepared a recommendation for each city to improve the situation. А зараз, будь ласка, вимкніть той сайт, який з інтерактивною інфографікою. We prepared interactive infographics, which is available to compare two cities. They are, будь ласка, нижче трохи, там, де карта із крапками. Так, we can choose one sphere or some sphere і покажіть на якусь крапку червону або синю. We see the point of this city and how much from the indicator the city gained. The maximum is this sphere is 10 points, and some cities gained 6 or 5 points. And this is possible to see on each of certain spheres and each city. І, будь ласка, нижче, там, де порівняння міст. І ще нижче, там, де вибрати, тепер трохи вище, будь ласка, там можна вибрати 2 міста. Виберіть, будь ласка, Львів і Кропивницький. Ну, так. І там. Так, і тепер вище. Дякую. So we see their comparison of the situation in these cities, and using this chart, cities can see best practices in other cities. If there is a big amount of points in some sphere in some city, there is exchange of experience. It is possible. So we prepared this specially for this purpose. we haven't not only did the ranking, we also advocate our recommendation to be implemented in cities. We conducted study for municipal workers, for NGO, because we believe that NGO can push the municipalities to implement the changes. And also, we work closely now with 4 cities, Irpin, Severodonetsk, Mariupol, and Melitopol. Our experts have special recommendations for them how to make the situation better in the cities. And also we had many information campaigns in these cities for citizens to explain them what is transparency and why do they need to find for it. So this is answering to the questions that Roman posted, whether people are ready to the changes or not. Some people tell that please don't touch them, don't touch us, we don't want to change anything, but some people are really ready for the changes, are really ready to make their city transparent. Also would like to mention that our methodology originates from Slovak experience, and Slovak mayor told a lot about transparency, so they worked also under similar project. So we are continuing our work. So now at least 10 cities used our recommendations and already raised the transparency of their cities, and we encourage more cities add to the ranking and work more. Even cities which are not covered by the ranking, we invite them to use our methodology and make their transparency to improve.
Thank you. And as I know, the organizers are distributing some of the questionnaire here, so maybe, I don't know if it's in this questionnaire, but for the next round, it's certainly worth adding that we are implementing the city transparency criteria in our daily management. Hey, it's such a huge privilege sitting among innovators on different fronts and different fields of urban, municipal, community innovations. Well, and probably I have this itch to bring the tiny innovation of our own. So we can't afford Q&A now during time. So let's do another innovative thing. Let's do Q&L. Sorry? Sorry? We have questions and lunch. Right, Ira? Yeah, that's what I called innovation. It's called Q&L, questions and lunch. So I do suggest asking our distinguished, talented, seasoned panelists over their lunch, but please do allow them having some food. And sorry for being so kind timekeeper and not being aggressive. Thank you very much for the pleasure to be among you. Thank you.